She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
If they are not biting the bait, chances are you don't have the right bait. Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Today is that one day a week where we really focus in on business tips and career tips. And this is one particular area that I think that you might get a really powerful revelation on. I know I did when I first heard this more than 2.5 decades ago. And that is that everybody is in sales. In fact, check this out. You have to look at success. If you want to succeed, you have to look to other people who are successful and learn tips or strategies or techniques that they use. Here's a woman that built an enormous cosmetic company that is still alive long after she is dead. And it's an international cosmetic company. You've seen these people all over the place. You've seen the pink Cadillacs, the pink Escalades. You've seen the pink cars all over the place. Yes, Mary Kay. But check out this piece of wisdom that she hands out today. Well, when she was alive. Pretend that every single person you meet has a sign around his or her neck that says, "Make me feel important." Not only will you succeed in sales, you will succeed in life. That is a huge piece of wisdom. This goes for your boss. This goes for your coworkers. This goes for the receptionist. This goes for the guy in the warehouse. This goes for your server at the restaurant that you're going to eat at tonight. Or unless you're using War on Debt, you're going to choose not to eat at the restaurant tonight. You're going to choose to be the restaurant at home. That goes for your spouse. Imagine that he is wearing a sign that says, "Make me feel important." Same with your children. Make me feel important. The guy that's checking your groceries, the girl that's bagging the groceries, the person that's at the post office. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you're flying out to take a trip with us, coming out to creating a dynasty or first steps to success, then even that, they're wearing a sign. If you treat people in such a way that causes them to feel special and important, I promise you, your financial life is totally going to change. Not only is your financial life going to change, but your personal life. You know, the life that you live at home with other people, the people that you go to church with. If you imagine that your job is to help make all those people feel special and important, then I promise you, great success, great doors are going to open for you. You are going to be someone that is highly recommended in all kinds of arenas. Now, the first time I heard this technique was through the book Think and Grow, not Think and Grow Rich. I don't recommend that book, but How to Win Friends and Influence People. I highly recommend that read. It is a powerful, powerful study of communication and a study of people. And what I had heard 2.5 decades ago was to study people. Now, lots of people don't realize that they're in some sort of sales. We are selling our sons on picking a carrot instead of an Oreo. Well, first of all, you shouldn't have any Oreos in your house anyway. We sell our spouses on loving us. We sell our coworkers on wanting to work with us. We sell our boss on wanting to keep us employed. If we are not selling ourselves to our boss, to our coworkers, I promise you somebody else is trying to weasel their way into your job. If we are not selling our spouse, listen, you sold your spouse, which is how you even ended up with your spouse. It is. You sold yourself to your spouse, and you sold your spouse on marrying you. That the whole dating process is nothing but a sales presentation. It's a sales presentation. It's prospecting, and then it's a sales presentation, which would be maybe the first date, and then there's follow-up to close the deal eventually that ends up in marriage. Well, the closing never stops after that. The presenting never stops after that. But the prospecting does stop after that. You should not continue to prospect if you're married. That part's over. But the presentation skills and the closing skills have got to continue, because if you are not continuously selling through the presentation of who you are to your spouse, then I promise you somebody else is. Somebody else is going to sell your spouse on them and take them right out of your home and into her bed or into his bed. And so you have to wrap your head around the fact that everyone's in sales. A teacher is selling knowledge. A pastor is selling people on consistently pursuing God and plugging back into the church and coming to Bible studies and volunteering in the nursery. Okay, pastors sell. Everybody sells. Our president sells. Our cabinet members sell. Our our congressmen and our senators, they all sold themselves to get into the position in which they're in. If you could wrap your head around this concept, which, by the way, is really highlighted in the book, First Steps to Wealth, which, again, you have an offer for you. It's a free copy of it. So there's no excuse for you to stay stuck in a rut. There's no excuse to stay in a dead-end job. There's no reason to stay in debt. There's no reason to stay in toxic relationships. The solutions are right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. But anyway, the point is that as soon as you can wrap your head around that you are in sales, and I'm not talking about that slimy fish oil salesman. I'm not talking about the slimy salesman that sells siding. I'm not talking about the slimy salesman who sold you a used car that really was nothing but a lemon that couldn't even make any lemonade. I am talking about professionals, professional sales. What does that mean? What does that look like? Maybe you've never encountered it before, but when you are around a professional, you don't even know that you're being sold. And it isn't a manipulation. It is that professional people of the sales profession, first of all, it's the highest paid profession in the world, number one. Number two, that professional does not create a buy something from me environment. It creates that professional creates an environment where it's mutually beneficial. It's a win-win situation, and the person is happy to be purchasing what they're purchasing. It's creating a buying experience that is making the buyer feel special and important instead of manipulated, instead of pushed, instead of pried, instead of badgered. Okay, now listen, I know I've been guilty of pushing and manipulating and badgering my husband. Okay, forgetting that, hold on a second, I have some sales skills. I should be using them in the home instead of nagging, badgering, manipulating, pushing, throwing a hissy fit, throwing a 2-year-old temper tantrum if I don't get my way. And of course, this one that I know most of us wives have done, guilty of it. It cannot continue. And it's something I've worked on for a long time. And I don't operate in this way anymore, but which is the cold shoulder. Right? That if you don't get what you want, bam, I'm closed for business, baby. You might want to think again the next time you tell me no. That's straight up manipulation. And unfortunately, people do it. But if you learn the art of selling, and I'm talking about professional sales, where it is creating a buying experience that is beneficial to the buyer and they enjoy the experience, okay? Let me give you a prime example, the Apple Store. Oh my gosh, they have mastered this process. They have created a buying environment, a buying experience that makes us want to buy and buy more. And it's not pushy, it's not salesy. You don't feel like you need to take a shower after you leave that store, but boy, are you excited about what you have in your hands. However, you can buy a computer from a different store that is not an Apple store, and you don't quite get the same experience. No, you don't. And chances are you end up not wanting to buy from them, and you end up pretty much just heading right back to that Apple store because of the experience in which they have created for us. And so if you can make people feel important and special, then you will be highly recommended. You will be promoted in your profession. You will be somebody that is highly sought after by others, and you may even have people fight over wanting to work with you. You will not be able to handle all of the business that you have coming to you. Now, that is not to say that you're not going to have lower months, but that is to say that you will be somebody that has clients coming at you left and right by way of referral, if you help people feel special and important. So we're going to be talking about sales, how it relates to the family, how it relates to education, how it relates to your finances, how it relates to your job or your business or your career. Okay, a business owner has got to sell the vision of what they're doing to their employees. If you're not selling that vision, you're not keeping that vision in front of them, I promise you somebody else is selling them a vision. They're getting distracted with something else, and their commitment level begins to falter. And so all managers need to continue to sell their people, the people they are responsible for, the vision, the goal, keeping that goal in front of them. Because again, we live in a society where people get distracted really, really easy. We also live in a society where people are not committed. They're just not. They have no roots anywhere. They jump around all over the place. I've been guilty of it. A lot of people I know have been guilty of it. And where we have no roots, we don't produce really good, juicy fruit. So I'm going to be taking your call today concerning this issue. Again, exploring sales in all these different ways and exploring different ways of making people feel special and important. Because if you just do what we're going to show today alone, if you just do that, today you're going to have not only a better day, You're going to get better results at work. You're going to be far more productive, and you're going to have people wanting to collaborate with you versus wanting to avoid you. So I'm going to take your call. If you have any questions about this, if you have struggles concerning sales, you know that you are selling a product or a service or an idea and it is just not working. By the way, a job interview is a sales presentation. Prospecting for a job, putting out applications, that's prospecting. Doing the interview is the presentation itself. You've got to learn how to close. So I don't know where you're at in life. I promise you, I can prove to you that you're in sales. And once you learn how to do it professionally, life gets so much easier, so much better. So our first call is from Daryl from Alberta, Canada. Daryl, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. How can we help you today concerning sales? What's your biggest challenge in the sales arena?
Okay, I don't know where to start. In some sense, I've struggled with sales the majority of my life, whether it's personal or in business. And I go through the sales process. I talk to the person. I'm going to have a small business in the health and wellness space, and I'll find a need, right? Mm-hmm. They need, for example, I need to make a little extra money, mm-hmm. or I need to lose weight, or I need to do this or do that. And we'll get to the point, I'll show them what they need, and it's like fear grips them. I don't know if it's something I'm saying or something they're doing, and I can never seem to really close a sale in a sense.
Right. Okay, well, here's the best thing that you could do for yourself. Number one, I want you to find the greater need than just the obvious need. Why do they want to lose weight? Why do they need to make extra money? Typically, people do not give the real need or the real why up front. You actually need to dig a little deeper in interviewing them. And again, interviewing them helps them to feel more special and important. The second thing is that I want you to record yourself the next time you go to present to somebody or talk to somebody on the phone. I want you to record yourself and see if perhaps you're clamming up when it comes to the close. Are you getting nervous when it comes time to asking that closing question? Are you now lowering your voice? Is your voice getting a little shaky? Are you starting to stiffen up a little bit? That's typically what people do who are not succeeding in the sales profession. That doesn't mean that you can't correct those things. You can correct those specific areas. I can't recommend to you enough, prospect and close your way to millions. It's like 7 hours of me coaching live people that are actually doing sales, making calls, presenting, and each one of them you're going to identify with yourself and see and be able to correct yourself and coach yourself so that you have the right voice inflections when you are talking to somebody, because chances are if you're getting the same excuses every time, it's because you're provoking them. Get this through your head. 90% of all objections are provoked, and it's something we're doing that's causing them to give us an excuse. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org. This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do with your life? Discover your own answer. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Irresistible offers are just that. They're irresistible. Today on the Dani Johnson Show, just like every single day, we are bringing you content, helpful tips, and strategies to help you succeed better in every area of your life. Not the status quo of success, but we are talking about real, true success. And that means it's a custom made for you. Everybody here on this planet has a different purpose for their life. You got to find yours. You have to know what you're on this planet to do so that you don't chase somebody else's dream, which is why here we obliterate the status quo of success, because that's not a one-size-fits-all for everybody. Their idea of success is the house and the giant mortgage, the new cars and the huge car payments and the full coverage insurance. Their idea of success is never seeing your kids, having them busy all the time and all kinds of crazy activities so nobody ever eats around the dinner table. Their idea of success is working like a slave to your debt, working like a slave to your career or your business, losing your marriage, losing your health, never going out and having fun, but instead we become nothing but miserable, snappy, filled with rage people who are hostile and scream at each other on the freeways with one finger instead of all five in that wave. This is who we have become, and that is society's idea for success. I say, ain't going there. Been there, done that, actually. No, thank you. There's another way to live it out. Today, we are specifically giving business and career tips concerning the arena of sales that every single one of us are in. If you're on a job interview, that's a sales presentation. If you're on a date, that's a sales presentation. If you are in a teacher, you are given a sales presentation all day long. You're selling information. You're selling knowledge to these kids. If you suck at selling that knowledge, guess what? They don't listen, they don't learn, and they don't do great on their tests. And they don't like you. So irresistible offers are irresistible. You need to create an irresistible offer for people that makes them want to buy, creating a buying experience that causes people to want what it is that you have. One of the ways to do that in creating an irresistible offer is to find out what they want. If you find out what people truly want, I'm not talking about assuming, oh, they want this or they're assuming they want that. No, you can't assume they even want what you are selling. You have to really dig deeper and research the people in which you are trying to market to. So I'm taking your call right now. We are answering questions concerning sales, the process, the places where you feel defeated, and how we can actually help you. A very unusual show for the Dani Johnson Show, but let's just call this one a teaching. Anyway, we have Sinitra Whitfield from Jackson. Looks like North Carolina, maybe. It's not all the way up on the screen. Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. So tell me, what area of sales are you in that you're having a challenge with?
I'm having a challenge with my children listening the first time. Or even the second time.
This is so good, because this really is a prime example of sales. Okay, now, first of all, did you sell your kids on the fact that they didn't need to obey you the first, second, third, and fourth, and fifth time?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Yes, I did.
So therefore, again, it's what I said before the last break, that 90%, 95% of all objections are provoked. And the reality is, us as parents, and I learned this one the hard way too, I realized that I was actually teaching my kids to not obey when I didn't respond to their disobedience the first time. So you know how, and this is kind of how it goes, right? Yeah, I taught them it was okay not to obey. Now that's scary, isn't it?
It is.
It is, because this whole thing that people do, I see parents do, they do the counting thing, right? 1, 2, 3. If you don't listen to me, then you're going to get a whooping. Okay, those are threats. That is manipulation. That is intimidation. And that is fear. None of those things motivate a child to want to obey. So we have to sell them on the blessing of obedience instead of selling them into fear and intimidation and rebellion. Because let me ask you, have you had any fear, intimidation, or rebellion in your life, Sinitra?
Yeah, I have.
Me too. I was taught it very, very well. And has fear and intimidation and rebellion hurt your life?
Yeah, it's hurt my life.
Absolutely, right? So this is what we're going to teach the kids, okay? When we continue back from the break, I'm going to give you just a simple little script on how you can lead your kids into wanting to obey instead of trying to pressure them into obeying, okay? So we just have to take a real quick break. You might want to get a pen and paper handy because this is going to be so good and you're going to be so blessed and your life is going to become so much easier. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
Can we just be real for a few minutes? You and I have real lives, real families, and real problems. We want real answers, don't we? Dani has answers that have worked for hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. Stay right here for more of The Dani Johnson Show.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
This is The Dani Johnson Show.
Because I said so. Have you ever heard that before? You probably heard that when you were a little kid. And your mom or your dad told you to do something, and you said why, and they said because I said so. I have a question for you. Have you used that technique on your kids? How well is that working? How well did it work on you? It's so funny how we take on the parenting skills that our parents had. Now listen, today we're talking about business and we're talking about sales, and we're really talking about how sales filters into every area of our life. So Sanitra's joining me right now from Jacksonville, North Carolina, and this is hilarious because she says, I need to learn how to sell my kids on obeying the first time. So we just discovered right before we took the break that she actually has sold them that it's okay for them not to obey the first time. We train our kids by selling them that it's all right. And how? Because when we do not bring discipline to the first place where they disobeyed, they know they can disobey 5 or 6 more times. Or if you're that parent that goes 1, 2, 3, I told you to obey, and then I'm now gonna get the belt and I'm gonna beat your butt, right? I don't know if you're that kind of a parent, but as the kind of parenting skills my parents had, there wasn't even some counting. It was just a whack out of nowhere. All right, so we're going to handle this problem that Sanitra is having right now. And Sanitra, this is what you're going to do. I asked you before, do you ever deal with fear, intimidation, and rebellion? And you said yes. And I said, and has your life been hurt because of it? And you so brilliantly and so humbly said yes. That's the story you're going to bring to your kids. You see, we got to sell them on the benefits of obedience, not when you're upset. Does that make sense? So here's what you're going to do. I want you to go to your kids and I want you to say, please forgive me because mommy has done something that I didn't even realize I was doing. And my heart's desire is to set you up for success. And I really have hurt that plan without even knowing it. Mm-hmm. So I'm here to ask you to forgive me because through my example, I have taught you that it's okay to be rebellious and to not obey. I've taught you it's okay, especially not to obey the first time. But let me tell you how that kind of activity has hurt my life.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And I want you to confess your sins to your kids and say, I've had to suffer through some really hard things because I was not taught to obey the first time. And there is a blessing for obedience, and that blessing comes from God. He wants us to obey because he wants to bless us. And he blesses those who are obedient. And those who are obedient with respect and honor, and those who can obey the first time, not wait till the second, not wait till the third, not wait till the fifth, not wait for the 10th, but those that can obey respectfully and honorably, those people are the ones that get to go to the front of the line. Those people are the ones that get to be blessed in their careers. Because this kind of activity that I've taught you, that you don't have to obey the first time, you don't have to obey the second, third, fourth, fifth, or even 10th, you don't obey until I'm screaming, and I should never scream at you. And I hate screaming at you. And I want us to have such a beautiful relationship that we never end up screaming at each other, but that we treat each other with honor and respect. So when it comes to your future work life, do you have sons?
Yeah, 4.
Okay, 4. Oh, wow. So my sons, you're going to be future husbands one day. You're going to be future fathers one day. You might run a company someday. Who knows? You might be the president of the United States. What I know is this: you will never reach that high level of success if you don't obey the orders in which that have been given to you by your first boss, by your second boss. If you don't obey now, and especially your oldest son, say this: one day you're going to run a company maybe. One day you'll be in a management position. Right now you're being trained on how to manage other people that are younger than you. And you're setting the example on how you want them to act. So if you're a good leader and you obey the first time, then the people that you will manage one day, whether they're employees or they're your own children, they will be more apt to obey the first time as well. So again, the difference is that that's sales. We are creating a problem and a solution that actually, we're not creating it, it's a reality. We're confessing our own faults in that place. We're saying, sorry, please forgive me. This is awesome leadership. Okay. And that, by the way, is you are selling them great leadership, and you're also selling them on trusting you because you've humbled yourself before them. You're going to make the wrong right. You're going to take personal responsibility. This is all powerful leadership skills that will make people a lot of money, or it's going to help the house have more peace and harmony and less stress. Okay? So we confess and we say, do you guys want to have success in life one day? Again, this is sales. Do you want to have success? Do you want someday to run a business, or you want to be successful fathers? You want to be successful husbands one day? They're going to tell you yes. Every kid wants that. And then you tell them, my job is to help you do that. And so first, please forgive me because I've trained you wrong. But from this day forward, let's practice first time obedience, because if you practice it when you're young, it's going to set you up for success later. And you'll be trusted by other people. You'll be held up in high esteem by other people. You'll be dependable. People will look at you and know that they can trust you and they can depend on you. You'll be somebody that'll climb through the ranks of success in life because of that dependability, because they know that if you give your word, you're going to honor it. And you're that kind of a person that they should be associated with. Okay? By the way, that's in grooming the next generation for success. Simple formulas. Yes, now it's time to read it. Now it's time to read it. I'm so glad you got a hold of it. They also had, there's the home study course that has more in it than what's in the book. You know, where it's alive. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking to you right now. So like on those videos. And by the way, a lot of parents just have their kids watch the videos and the audios. They have the kids do it. They go with they take the workbook and go with it as young as 4-year-olds who are listening to it. As young as 4-year-olds are asking their mommy to play the audios from it because kids want to succeed. And they learn the scripts. And then they hold mommy and daddy accountable with those scripts. And so they learn how to live with honor and respect. They learn how to come and say to you, mommy, please forgive me for not honoring you the first time. Please forgive me for not obeying the first time. So you can easily train your kids in this way, and it's going to make your life so much easier. You're a good mom, Sinitra. You're a good mom. Do you want me to tell you how I know you're a good mom? Because you're asking these questions, because you've sought out and you've gotten a book about grooming your kids for success, because you have a desire to raise sons that will be future leaders that are dominating in the world one day, that are doing great and mighty works. that makes you such a good mom, because you want and you desire to be better as a mother. No mother is perfect. I don't feel like I'm a perfect mom. I make mistakes all the time. I have to go back and read my own book. Do you understand? I have to go back and go, oh, caca, I messed that one up. How did I let that slip by? None of us are perfect, but we have a perfect Father in heaven that is willing to guide us, and He's made teachings and training available to us so that we can train ourselves on how to be the parents that we wished we had. You're a good mom. You're a faithful mom. You're a loving mom. And you're having challenges like all of us moms do. You have the solution in your hand. Take it one step further. Get a hold of the home study course so the kids can be sold on becoming great men one day. So the kids can be sold a vision, and they can be sold the skill sets that is going to change your entire family life. I believe I'm going to see you maybe holding Grooming the Next Generation for Success classes one day. And your kids will be, I'm not kidding you, and your kids will be holding those classes one day. Your sons are going to be models. They are. There's no question in my mind. They're going to be models, and people are going to go, how do you have sons like that? Your kids are so amazing. How do I get sons like that? So it's possible, and you're on the right track. I'm really, really proud of you. Man, I'm telling you, it's easy to forget that we're in sales and that people love to buy, and it's all in how we present. And so how we present life to our children is a sales job. We have to present it in such a way, not that it's daisies, rainbows, and a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow and it every day is Disneyland. No, don't even sell them that. That's a bunch of junk, man. That's a lie. You got to sell them the truth, that hardships are along the way, and character is what is important, and we have to sell them to want to have the highest level of character. We want to sell them on doing the right thing, being men and women of their word. We have to do that. And sometimes we got to do it every day. Every single day. And we have to teach the kids the consequences if they don't obey. Because when they become adults and they don't obey the laws of the land, they don't pay their taxes, they mistreat people, they lie, cheat, and steal, they're going to end up in the slammer doing time. That's a reality. They're going to end up in the slammer doing time. You cannot rebel against the laws of the land. And it's our jobs as mothers and fathers to groom our kids to learn how to obey those things in the first time. Don't be flirting with breaking laws. Do what's right. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
So what's keeping you stuck? It's time to get it out of your way for good. Stay right here for more of The Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. The most common question I get usually are from people who are trying to juggle their life. They've got kids who are involved in all kinds of activities. They've got business or their job, finances, trying to get out of debt, plus all their church activities and all the volunteer activities. And they're pulling their hair out going, how do I juggle this all? Man, I once lived just like that until I learned Time Secrets. Time Secrets showed me how to be able to cut my hours from 100 hours a week that I was working down to 20 hours a week and tripled my income as a direct result with what I learned. Time Secrets also showed me how to get my priorities in order, which healed up my marriage. And I became a mother that I was proud of versus becoming the mother I didn't want to be. And so if you feel like your world is running around in all kinds of different circles, you can fix that. Call 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880 for Time Secrets.
Straight talk, real answers. This is The Dani Johnson Show.
One thing I think it's really important to sell our families, our communities, our coworkers on, to sell our nation on, is not being so self-centered, but showing them and selling them the benefit of being people who are not self-centered, but more selfless. People who are servant leaders instead of serve me leaders. One thing that we've done inside of our family, as well as inside of our business, as well as to our clients, which is the outside part of our business, is that we really have led the charge with turning our hearts over to taking care of those who cannot take care of themselves. a project that we're working on that I encourage you to join us on. I want you to imagine that you are living in a set of circumstances where you do not have a home, certainly not a viable home, that basically your poverty is so bad that you've had to go and cut down branches and make that part of a wall, scrap wood, scrap metal, just digging around trying to find pieces of things, and you put it all together with mud. What happens when it rains? Oh yes, mud will melt. What happens when it rains and your roof is just a whole bunch of stuff that's just stacked on top of each other? It rains inside of your house. Imagine not having a bathroom, a kitchen, pantry, cupboards, nothing. That inside this dwelling, you've made a hammock for your children to sleep on. You burn a fire inside the house. You have to go collect the water, and hopefully you're going to put something together, whether that is bark or something that you have found outside that you can somehow create food out of. And in a lot of cases, it's called mud cakes. This is how a huge amount of people live every day. They watch their children suffer and die. Could you imagine being that parent? Now I want you to imagine a totally different thing. You know, we live in a society where kids are self-centered, where they are greedy, and they use their parents as ATM machines. Why? Because this country and other countries are so good at marketing that all the things that they gotta have. But imagine if you don't raise the greedy family. Imagine if you don't raise the family that is fully selfish and self-centered and self-absorbed and gluttonous and full of greed, and is never satisfied with how much you make, never satisfied with how big your business is, never satisfied with your job, never satisfied with anything, always nitpicking and complaining and whining and looking at what everyone else has and wanting it. Imagine that that's not your family. But imagine that you've joined a team of people who have come together to use a portion of our income, taking $1 out of every 10 that we make, and that we set it aside to build homes for the extremely impoverished, for those who have no food, no water. They look at their beautiful children with tears in their eyes and tears streaming down mommy's face saying, I wish I had something to feed you. It's been 2 days. I'm so sorry. I wish I had water to give you to drink. I'm so sorry. It's been 2 days. The child is lifeless. Can't even pull up the energy to cry. You can be a part of that solution. Come over to kingsransom.org with me. Come on. How about you and I take a trip together and we build homes for these people? Not only homes with bathrooms, kitchens, but also food to sustain them. We're going to set them up with chickens and a chicken coop and knowledge on how to multiply those chickens, that they can get in the chicken business. For sure, their family's always going to have protein. As well as put them in the clothing business where they can sew and make clothes that they can also sell. We're also going to build schools so the kids are going to be educated and they will no longer be illiterate, but they'll learn and be able to maybe one day go off to school and learn a new trade. You can help us do that. You and I together, your family and my family, can help build Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. Kingsransom.org. Again, that's kingsransom.org. Click on Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. Or you can call this phone number. It's 888-291-7123. Again, that's 298-791-7123. 888-291-7123. So as far as what great thing that you can do with your ability to sell is begin to sell humanity on being human once again. Being real, gracious, merciful people who cares about those who are in need and does something about it instead of goes, oh, that's just too bad. So we're talking about sales right now. We were just talking about kids in sales, like how do we sell our kids on doing better in school? How do we teach them how to do better with obeying the first time instead of the 12th time? Those particular skill sets are used in the business community as well as at home. So we're going to the phones. We have some people with some questions and concerns or stumbling blocks in their life concerning sales. So we've got Carolyn Lockhart from Massachusetts. Carolyn, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Oh, thank you so much, Dani.
Mm-hmm.
I am so thrilled and honored to be on this call with you.
So what types of struggles have you had in the past with sales, and how have you been able to overcome that?
Well, I had a business from home for 8 years, and I absolutely loved it. And I worked with a lot of women, and I found that sales was the big challenge, and it just broke my heart that, the biggest challenge being that, sales had to be the first marker of success. That really challenged me because, there'd be so many women that would come in and they have these dreams and these visions of success, but if they didn't sell right out the gate, then they were just deflated. So I left this business. I left a very successful business to look for a different model, something that where the first marker was self-care. And it was more about nurturing the inner person, nurturing the fears, nurturing the dreams, nurturing the higher calling. And I mean, it's taken me 4 years. I mean, I kind of pulled away from work and just really was obedient to God in this path that He was taking me on. So I'm really excited that I'm finally at a place where I'm starting to share it. So being invited to be on this call, I just wanted to let your listeners know that sales doesn't necessarily have to be the first marker.
That's right.
That it's possible for them to find a home business that's focused on self-care and focused on their family and focused on their home and focused on their dreams. And well, I
do know. And actually, it's not the business itself that determines whether or not the success only comes from sales. It's the individual and how they approach it. And so what we've taught for 27 years, no matter what kind of business, if you have a big corporation or if you've got a small business or you've got, you sell soap from your house, the reality is it's always got to be based on relationship first and business always follows. And so when it comes to relationship first and business follows, that's also relationship with yourself, relationship with your family, relationship with your God. When these things are out of order, you can't do anything to get a sale. You just can't make it happen. You're so stressed out. You're so wigged out, you're lacking sleep, your health is bad, you feel bad, and you're selling a lie. And so it's really important that you make your business about relationship first. And professional sales is always relationship first, knowing that business will follow. Because if you cultivate relationships and you really care about people's lives, you care about their health, you care about what's going on inside of their families, you care about what's happening with their children, in their marriage, you care about what's going on in their career, you care about their dreams, naturally you are going to cultivate relationships of loyalty and stability and consistency and persistence. And these things are hugely important to building an powerful sales force. And again, that has nothing to do with the product or the service or the name of the company that's on the outside of the corporate building. That means absolutely nothing. It's all in how the individual leader approaches and leads in that marketplace. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Don't go away. The next segment might just change your life. This is The Dani Johnson Show.
For families in Santa Pancha, Nicaragua, life is filled with fear and struggle. They don't have enough food for their kids, clean water is hard to find, and they're living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel on top of mining tunnels that could explode and sink at any moment. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming this village. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha to see how you can help. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org, and click on Santa Pancha. And I'm so blessed that I found what is in Grooming the Next Generation for Success. This is a book that is being taught in universities around the world. It's been noted as the best book on parenting that has ever been written. Crazy, if you ask me. But the point is that this thing gets results. Get your copy today, 888-757-8880. Again, that's 888-757-8880. Or go to DaniJohnson.com. That's DANI Johnson.com. Get your copy today.
Be sure to tell a friend about The Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need. And now, back to The Dani Johnson Show.
Lead with relationship in your business, your career, and make relationship the most important thing inside of your house, of course, outside of God, because God is a relationship God. And he desires for us to love him, and how we love him is also translated in how we love other people. And loving people means you're not manipulating people, pushing people. It means that you are not begging people, nagging people, and I'm talking about your spouse, not nagging, not manipulating, not pushing, none of that stuff. None of that is loving people. And so if you lead in the marketplace with the concept of loving people, wanting to know people, making them feel special and important, your brand is going to be a brand that is going to soar. You're going to have business that comes to you easily. You're going to be highly recommended by so many. That's what we were talking about today on the Dani Johnson Show. I cannot encourage you enough to learn the skills of communication so that you can do that. I've got something I'd love to put in your hands, First Steps to Wealth. It's going to show you exactly how to communicate in that way where you're cultivating relationships that then translate into building more profits at home as well as outside of the home. Everything's based on relationship. And I mean everything. How you find a good plumber is based on relationship. A good contractor is based on relationship. Finding a mate for your child, that's all based on relationship. Quit living your life like 98% of the population who is expecting to get lucky. This is not Disneyland. This is real life here on planet Earth with other humans all around us. So I'd love to give you a copy of this so that you can begin to succeed in a wildly way, in a beautiful way, in a way that is so much easier than the way that you've been going about it before. First Steps to Wealth, that's a wealth of relationships, it's financial wealth, it's wealth of good health, it's wealth of fun, it's wealth of every area of your life. First Steps to Wealth, 866-760-8255. Ask for Nellie or Nate. Both of them would love to serve you right now. Free to you. You can get the ebook right now, or if you want the physical copy, you pay the shipping to get it to your house, and I'll send the $15 book to you. I think that's a fair deal. It's more than fair. You pay shipping and handling, I'll give you the book. Call right now and get your copy immediately while supplies still last and while we're still giving it away for free, because obviously that offer should not be standing forever. But that's our gift to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know that you enjoyed today's program, and what I would love to see you do is freely you've received today. Today's show is more like a training, more like some coaching. And I really want you to look at the different areas of life that you can use it. But more importantly, let's help others succeed. Let's not just always be consumed and worried about our own success. Let's share today's program with others. It's simple. Share it on Twitter. Share the link on Twitter or Facebook. Okay? Simple. Grab your cell phone. Go to DaniJohnson.com if you have a smartphone. Grab the link from today's program. You'll see it. Just click on watch. Today's program is right there. Copy the link. Send it out in a mass text to everybody. Send it out in a mass email to everybody. Tell them how much this meant to you and how it just helped you, and you feel like you wanted to bless you. Freely you got this, and you feel so blessed that it was free. You feel like you should have paid for this, but instead you got it for free, so you want to pass it on to them. So please go do that now. That would really bless a lot of people. We all need to be concerned about helping other people succeed and not just ourselves. I'll talk to you tomorrow. God bless. Have a great day.
Did you hear that last segment? Do you know someone else who needs to hear it? Go to DaniJohnson.com, find today's show, and share it online.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.